Today's news highlights. Date June 12, 2025. News highlights: the doctor shared the results of a video of diabetic patients who measured the effects of different rice varieties on blood sugar. Sushi rice rose blood sugar the fastest, and blood sugar soared above 220 mg/dl. White rice, Thai rice, and stewed rice also exceeded 210 mg/dl. In contrast, brown rice and black rice have a smaller glycemic range, and black rice is also rich in anthocyanins, which have antioxidant and vascular protective effects. If you want to eat healthy and control sugar, black rice is the best choice. Refrigerating and reheating rice can also help lower the glycemic index. News highlights: a native man had symptoms such as confusion, memory loss, and unsteady gait, and was initially suspected of dementia, but after examination, it turned out that a severe lack of vitamin B1 led to Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, which was related to long-term alcoholism. Physicians reminded that alcoholism and malnutrition are high-risk groups, and high-unit B1 supplementation should be made as soon as possible. Dietitians recommend eating more B1-rich foods such as lean meats and whole grains. Quitting alcohol and maintaining a balanced diet can effectively reduce the risk of brain lesions. News highlights: while ICAI has been in a row for 30 issues, and the jackpot on June 12 was 1.12 billion yuan, setting off a national rush to grab the god of wealth. Numerology expert Yang Dengcheng shared 5 tricks to improve the fortune of winning the lottery. The most prosperous zodiac signs in this issue are rats, oxes, dragons, and monkeys. It is recommended to purchase from the lottery shops in the north or southeast. Choose a store facing due north or southeast. Wear white, gold, blue, and other gold and watercolor clothing. Pinching the nose and pulling the ears can activate wealth. Go with the flow, and maybe luck will come. News highlights: large-scale protests and riots erupted in Los Angeles, California, due to the ICE raid, commenting that the infiltration of ultra-left communist organizations, the collusion of political and business interests in California, and sympathy intensified social divisions. The Trump administration has vowed to cut off the funding chain, investigate related funding networks, and emphasize that the law must be respected. News highlights: Hong Kong police on June 10 alleged that the mobile game Reverse United Front, Beacon, developed by Taiwan, was suspected of advocating Taiwan independence, Hong Kong independence, and inciting subversion of the regime, warning that downloading, reposting or paying fees may violate the national security law. The move has raised concerns about the restrictions on creative freedom. The incident caused a surge in downloads of the game, and the development team responded with "Xie Cheng Xiang gave arrows," satirizing the police for helping to promote it. The content of the game focuses on the CCP's United Front and emphasizes it as a non-fiction work. News highlights: Japanese walking is a simple fitness method that combines brisk walking and slow walking, developed by Japanese scholars, and the content is 3 minutes each time in turn for 30 minutes of brisk walking and slow walking, 4 times a week. Studies note that it helps lower blood pressure, lose weight, and build leg strength. Experts say that this type of moderate to high-intensity interval exercise is effective in improving health and may prolong life, and although it is not suitable for everyone, it is worth trying as a daily exercise habit. News highlights: the U.S.-China trade talks in London reached a framework agreement late on the night of June 10, with both sides agreeing to wait for final approval by Trump and Xi. The focus of the agreement includes the Chinese side to supply rare earths and magnets in advance, and the United States to allow Chinese students to study in the United States. Trump revealed that the U.S. side maintains the overall 55% tariff, while the Chinese side maintains 10%. The fentanyl issue remains the focus, and the U.S. side stressed that it will observe China's follow-up actions. Although the market reaction has been muted, experts see this as an important step in the bilateral relationship from confrontation to coordination. News highlights: Li Fifei founded World Labs, a startup company, to promote the research and development of Large World Model, LWM, emphasizing that spatial intelligence is the key to complementing AI capabilities. She believes that large language models are good at language communication but cannot fully understand the three-dimensional physical world, and spatial intelligence allows AI to perceive, reason and act in the three-dimensional world, which is essential for robotics, self-driving cars, and creative industry applications. World Labs has raised $230 million to generate physics-based stereoscopic scenes with 3D native methods, which is expected to drive the infinite metaverse and multi-entity AI applications in the future, creating a wide impact beyond language models. News highlights: a total of 54,842 places, including additions, were applied for admission to the university in the 114th academic year, with 79,001 applicants. There are 52,712 students enrolled in each school and 67,818 students in reserve, with a total of about 120,000 admissions. The screening for the second phase of designated projects will be held from May 15 to June 1, and the admission results will be announced by June 2. Candidates who have obtained multiple corrections or alternate qualifications at the same time are required to register online from June 5 to 6, and the results will be announced on June 12. If there is any doubt about the distribution results, admitted students can apply for a review before noon on June 13. News highlights: the Big and American Act, OBBB, promoted by Trump has passed the House of Representatives and is now entering the Senate for consideration. The controversial Section 899 of the bill would impose a punitive tax rate of up to 35% on foreign investors from countries with discriminatory tax regimes, severely impacting foreign investment in the U.S. market, leading to capital outflows and higher U.S. Treasury yields. If Taiwanese companies are included in the list, the tax rate may soar to 50%, which will have a huge impact on the semiconductor and electronics industries. Experts advise Taiwanese investors to pay close attention to the progress of the bill and actively adjust their investment layout and tax planning to reduce risks. News highlights the father-in-law carefully picked fish bones and picked vegetables for his mother-in-law, so that her mother-in-law did not have to move chopsticks, but the bowl was full of vegetables. Engineers grew up seeing their fathers take care of their mothers, and they took care of their families in the same considerate way. Whether it's serving his wife's food during meals, taking care of the children, or considering her preferences, he is attentive and thoughtful. This kind of thoughtfulness and upbringing comes from family education and the example of parents, showing a deep sense of care and responsibility. News highlights Jeffrey Gundlach, CEO of Twin Line Capital, known as the King of New Bonds, pointed out that the dollar is at the starting point of a long-term depreciation, and a weaker dollar will promote the performance of international stock markets to outperform the U.S. stock market, and suggested that investors deploy in emerging markets such as India. He believes that the dollar index has fallen about 8% since 2025 as aggressive U.S. trade policies have weakened dollar confidence. Invesco and Citigroup are also bullish on further depreciation of the US dollar and forecast that global equities are expected to rise by about 3% by the end of the year. News highlights Daiwa Capital's latest report points out that the strong demand for AI servers from cloud service providers will continue into the third quarter, and is optimistic about Taiwan's 8 major data center hardware manufacturers, including Hon Hai, Weiying, Gigabyte, Quanta, Zhaibang, Xinhua, Jingxiangdian and Jias, and recommends buying. In May, a number of companies achieved record revenues, especially Jingxiang and Zhaibang benefited from the demand for ASIC AI servers on Amazon, and Gigabyte and Wistron benefited from the increase in NVIDIA AI server volume. Daiwa is optimistic about the acceleration of shipments in the second half of the year, and raised the target prices of many companies, with Hon Hai target prices of 200 yuan, Zhaibang 830 yuan, Xinhua 3,730 yuan, and Weiying 2,920 yuan, maintaining Wistron's holding rating. News highlights NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang announced that it will build 20 new AI factories in Europe and build the world's first industrial AI cloud with 10,000 GPUs in Germany, increasing the AI computing power in Europe to 10 times the current level. He said that NVIDIA will cooperate with the French startup Mistral AI to use 18,000 new Grace Blackwell chips. Huang is also optimistic that quantum computing technology is about to break through the inflection point, and it is expected to solve many important global problems and promote scientific and technological development within a few years. News highlights the Kaohsiung Municipal Tax Collection Office reminds that the Housing Tax 2.0 will be implemented from July 1, 2024, and the tax exemption must meet 3 conditions. Natural persons hold less than 3 households in the country, and the current value of single-family houses is lower than the standards of counties and cities, and they are purely for residential use. If an old house is registered for business purposes, it is still subject to tax. Those who hold more than 3 low-cost houses must declare the tax exemption of 3 households before March 24 of each year, and the tax authorities shall choose according to the regulations after the deadline. The public should take the initiative to check and declare to avoid missing out on the tax exemption status or being subject to back taxes. News highlights Constellation expert Tang Qiyang recently successfully lost 26 kilograms, causing fans to care about her health. She clarified on Facebook on the 10th that except for some eye problems, her overall physical condition is good and she is not thin and sick. Tang Qiyang revealed that the secret to weight loss is to eat less, quit fried chicken and hand-cranked drinks, and change to a healthy diet, emphasizing that he is still a healthy baby, so fans don't worry too much. News highlights 6 pairs of zodiac signs with very different personalities but unexpectedly compatible. For example, Aries and Libra, although they have different personalities, complement each other in the workplace and have a balanced love. Taurus and Scorpio are stable and affectionate in the family. Gemini and Sagittarius create energy through flexibility and adventure. Cancer and Aries, on the other hand, support each other with gentleness and passion. These contrasting combinations show a unique understanding of friendship and love, proving that personality differences can be opportunities for understanding and growth. News highlights Gu Zhongliang, chairman of China Trust, was sentenced to 7 years and 8 months in connection with the Hung Huo case and the land purchase case of Qingqing Lake, but he was exempted from electronic shackle monitoring, and was repeatedly guaranteed by the Minister of Sports, Zhang Shizhong, and other government officials, to apply for the lifting of border control to go abroad to promote baseball events, which raised questions about judicial unfairness. Zhang Shizhong emphasized that Gu's position as the president of the Asian Baseball Federation and other positions was necessary for sports diplomacy, so he provided a guarantee, but the lawyer believed that the effect of mobile phone surveillance to prevent escape was limited. Gu Zhongliang will resign as a director of CITIC, and the chairman of the Baseball Association will continue until 2026, and the outside world has criticized him for enjoying privileges, which is obviously different from the treatment of ordinary criminal defendants. News highlights the YouTube channel crowd former couple teacher Andy and Zhang Jianing broke out over a financial dispute, and the hand-cranked drink shop Xia Tea House took the opportunity to launch Zhangjia Lemon Green Tea to satirize Jianing. A few days ago, Jianing personally appeared to buy the drink, and took a photo to confirm that it was to make Zhang Jianing lemon green tea and the store's PK according to the ratio of the original lemon juice of the store. The taste of the two drinks is obviously different, and the Jianing version has a stronger lemon flavor, and netizens have responded enthusiastically, mostly ridiculing and curious about the identity of the photographer. News highlights after the integration of the wreckage of Typhoon Butterfly, a tropical depression, 94W, has formed over the southeast of Taiwan in recent days, and is rapidly approaching the eastern sea, which is expected to affect the eastern half and the south today and tomorrow, bringing heavy rainfall and strong winds. The meteorological department pointed out that due to its proximity to land and short time, the probability of formation is low, but the meteorological powder believes that landfall is still possible. Affected by this, showers and even heavy rain will occur in Hualien, Taitung, Yunnan and southern areas, and the public should pay more attention to weather changes. News highlights South Korean actress Kim Tae-hee revisited Taiwan after 13 years, and arrived in Taiwan yesterday, 11th, as a spokesperson for medical beauty. Subsequently, she appeared in Taipei 101 shopping center low-key visit to IU endorsement brands and COS, Zara, and other stores, trying on a variety of clothing and shopping. The trip was relaxed and happy. Kim Tae-hee is known for her fair-skinned skin and anti-aging beauty, focusing on her family after marriage and rarely attending public events, and her visit to Taiwan this time has attracted the attention of fans. News highlights a car accident occurred on National Highway 2 a few days ago. A Porsche 911 was suspected of being in a hurry to cut the queue to pick up the National 1 ramp, and suddenly braked urgently, causing the Mercedes sedan behind to dodge and crash into the Mercedes SUV in the next lane. Fortunately, there were only minor scratches on the body of the car, and no one was injured. The Porsche driver did not stop, crossed 2 lanes and quickly exited the ramp. The police have taken possession of the footage and notified the owner of the Porsche to explain that they will be held accountable in accordance with the law, reminding the driver to obey the traffic rules and avoid dangerous violations. News highlights internet celebrity curator Chen Zhihan recently greatly reduced the past swear words and yellow accents in the Shanghai travel live broadcast, causing the Green Camp to ridicule dry disease was cured by China. The curator responded in a live broadcast last night, emphasizing that the internet is different from reality, and he only talks more dry words in order to make fans happy during the live broadcast, but he should respect others and avoid offense in the face of real people. He said that during the live broadcast in Shanghai, he took photos with Chinese fans, cherished the rare opportunity to meet, and showed a warm and cordial side, rather than a stereotypical and fierce impression from the outside world. News highlights Wu Wanjun was sued for domestic violence by Zhao Junya in March this year, and her physical and mental injuries were once rumored to be depressed and panicked, but 3 months after the breakup, it was revealed that she had begun to reunite due to the man's tender offensive. She will go abroad with Zhao Junya's class leader takes you fun team, but she stressed that she is going abroad alone. Regarding netizens who deserve to be beaten, Wu Wanjun said that she didn't know what she was wrong, emphasizing that she had not violated the law and discipline, and hoped that the outside world would respect her family and emotional private affairs. News highlights Korean star Kim So-hyun was accused by YouTuber Kim Se of dating and having a relationship with the late actress Kim Se Ryan when she was a minor. He strongly denied it and held a press conference to clarify, saying that the woman only dated when she was an adult, and accused the other party of falsifying evidence. Kim So-hyun filed a claim for 12 billion won and successfully applied for the seizure of 2 properties in Kim Se's name, with a total price of about 4 billion won. As the recording evidence is suspected of being synthesized by AI, and the year of the group photo is consistent with Kim So-hyun's statement, the outside world began to rehabilitate him. News highlights actress Xiaoa was terminated by Wu Zongxian and her image was severely frustrated because she privately spread the scandal between Hu Guo and Song Yu, and she has faded out of the showbiz for 4 months. Recently, she quietly appeared on TikTok live broadcast, and was found that only 24 people watched the broadcast late at night, and the internet celebrity Yuan Xiao called so pitiful, and suggested that she participate in fist wish against Song Yu, venting her grievances, increasing news topics and making money, with nonsensical language. Xiao currently only relies on her personal YouTube channel to maintain her exposure. News highlights Wu Wanjun and Zhao Junya dated last year, and a domestic violence storm broke out in March this year, and after 3 months, it was revealed that the double entry and exit led to compound suspicions. Wu Wanjun issued an article today, 12th, denying the reunion, emphasizing that she is just traveling and does not need to be judged in her life. She said that the report was for self-protection, not hype, and did not authorize any revelations. Wu Wanjun appealed to the outside world not to treat her life as entertainment, and hoped to respect her choice and freedom. News highlights former TV producer Li Nengjian, the husband of actress Lu Xiaongjun, was involved in setting up a technology company to assist a fraud syndicate to produce fake Facebook investment advertisements for Huang Zhengxuan, and used fake accounts to boost popularity, misleading hundreds of people to invest, and losing more than 13 million yuan. The police seized hundreds of computers, and Li and 5 others denied committing the crime. After 7 hours of interrogation by the prosecutors, Li Nengjian paid 200,000 yuan in bail, restricting his residence and leaving the country to go to sea. News highlights actress Lu Pinyin and Lian Chenxiang not only announced their marriage, but also surprised to reveal that they were 3 months pregnant and became prospective parents, shocking the entertainment industry. She shared a video of retraining with her husband in the community yesterday, 11th, and her pregnant belly was exposed for the first time. Even when she is pregnant, Lu Pinyin is still active in fitness, performing squats, pulley training and other movements to show a healthy pregnancy life. News highlights 50-year-old Taiwan's #1 supermodel Lin Chiliang recently attended a Japanese endorsement event, and her frozen beauty amazed the audience, causing heated discussions among Japanese netizens, who exclaimed, "I can't see it." Lin Chiliang shares her maintenance tips for exercising, sleeping, and hydrating, and stresses the importance of positive thinking. She said that the focus is on parenting at this stage, and she will continue to learn and cherish life in the future. Although the focus has shifted to family, Lin Chiliang still maintains an elegant temperament and undiminished charm. News highlights in Chinese society, being in good shape is often seen as a symbol of good fortune. Sohu pointed out that if the zodiac pig, ox, and dragon are round, they are more likely to bring wealth and good luck. Pig people have an easygoing personality and are intuitive and sensitive to financial luck, the ox is down-to-earth and diligent, and fortune symbolizes career stability and wealth accumulation, the dragon has a strong aura, and his mellow body adds leadership charm and noble luck. However, it is reminded that health is still the foundation of happiness and blessing, and good fortune also need to be carried by a healthy body and mind. News highlights more than 100 members of Taiwan's press and academic circles signed a petition opposing the free use of news content and monopolizing advertising revenue by multinational digital platforms such as Google and Meta, which has led to a reduction in media revenue and a deterioration in the treatment of journalists, and called on the government to legislate to establish a mandatory bargaining mechanism and set up a news fund. The initiative is supported by journalism professors, media directors, and professional groups of 18 universities, and refers to the legislative experience of Australia and other countries, advocating the protection of the rights and interests of news producers, improving the quality of news, and defending democracy and the right to know through the dual-track system of bargaining and fund. News highlights as of 2025, global central banks are actively increasing their holdings of gold to cope with inflation and geopolitical risks, and the United States still ranks first in global gold reserves with 8,133.5 tons, followed by Germany, Italy, France, and Russia. China and India have been buying gold at a rapid pace in recent years, but their per capita holdings are low due to their large populations. Switzerland ranks first in the world with 118.2 grams per capita. Taiwan's gold reserves are 422.69 tons, ranking 13th in the world. Global central bank holdings already account for 17% of total gold production in history, indicating the growing strategic position of gold in international finance. News highlights internet celebrity curator Chen Haihan recently arrived in Shanghai to start a 6-day live broadcast trip, praising Chinese things as soon as he landed, and his words and deeds aroused heated discussions and criticism from netizens on both sides of the strait. The curator admitted that he had scolded China, saying that he had been misled by the DPP, and said that he was touched by the warm hospitality in China. However, his move was angrily denounced by Chinese netizens as grass on the wall and speculators. Mei Hualong, an assistant professor at Peking University, also criticized the director's past remarks, arguing that not everyone is worthy of the united front, reminding the authorities not to treat the returning prodigal son specially, emphasizing that ideological firmness is the key. The incident highlights the antagonism between cross-strait politics and public opinion. News highlights the Poseidon Palace in Sandaman Township, Pingtung, was closed 2 years ago due to the fact that most of the land is privately owned and difficult to manage, and there have been 6 drowning deaths in the past 5 years. Tourists are still coming in large numbers, creating safety and garbage issues. The township office was scheduled to hold a meeting on the 12th to discuss garbage disposal with landlords and tribes and set up a management association, hoping to reopen and strengthen management, but the tragedy of 3 deaths occurred on the eve of the incident. The Pingtung County government actively promotes water safety publicity and sets up warning and life-saving equipment to ensure the safety of the people. News highlights the meteorological department pointed out that today, 12th, under the influence of the tropical depression, the southern and eastern half of the country is prone to brief showers or thunderstorms. The rain in Huadong is more continuous and obvious. There are local thunder showers in the afternoon north of the central part, and 4 counties and cities including Taipei, Tainan, and Kaohsiung have a high temperature of 36 degrees. Tomorrow, 13th, the rain will be widened, and the probability of rain in Taiwan will be high, especially in the southern and eastern half of the country. On Saturday, 14th, the rain was slightly slower, and the rainy hot area moved to the windward side of the central and southern regions. The Meteorological Department, BMD, reminds of the risks of lightning strikes, strong gusts of wind and mountain collapses, and continuously monitors the dynamics of tropical systems. News highlights the third-party payment platform Taiwan Li has been in operation for more than 20 years, and it was reported that the boss ran away and went out of business, causing users to be shocked. A number of victims said that tens of thousands of yuan had not been received, and they were suspected of malignant bankruptcy. In Taiwan, there is no annual fee and setup fee, and it is trusted by some merchants, but since the beginning of June, the payment interface has not been available, and the company's door has been closed. The Digital Industry Administration, the competent authority, said that during the investigation, the operator must sign a trust with the bank to protect the user's funds, and the victim hopes to clarify and recover the money as soon as possible. News highlights many middle-aged women only eat eggs, soy milk or fruits for breakfast, causing blood sugar to fluctuate violently, triggering hunger rushes in the morning, excessive lunch and afternoon snack addiction, falling into a vicious cycle of weight loss. After the age of 45, the basal metabolism declines, muscle loss accelerates, and the lack of carbohydrates prompts the body to enter the fat storage mode. It is recommended to consume mild carbohydrates, such as sweet potato, oatmeal, with protein and fiber for breakfast to stabilize blood sugar, reduce calorie intake throughout the day and maintain muscle. Combined with brisk morning walking, office exercises and weekly resistance training, it can help burn fat and prevent metabolic decline, which is the key to healthy weight loss for mature women. News highlights many people mistakenly think that whole wheat and low fat are healthy, but they ignore that these foods often contain high GI ingredients, which can cause blood sugar to rise rapidly. Whole wheat bread is often mixed with refined flour, and the sugar content of low-fat yogurt even exceeds that of cola, and rice flour is digested quickly after removing fiber, which is easy to cause blood sugar fluctuations. Studies have shown that diets with high GI and GL are closely associated with an increased risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease, especially refined starches and processed foods in Western diets. It is recommended to choose low GI, high fiber, high protein foods, such as sugar-free Greek yogurt with chia seeds, walnuts, and blueberries, or cauliflower brown rice with grilled chicken thighs, and control the portion size of food, and avoid high GL foods such as sweet drinks and white bread to stabilize blood sugar and protect health. News highlights on the 30th anniversary of Teresa Teng's death, a memorial concert was held in Jinbeisan Yunyuan in New Taipei to commemorate the immortal singing. Recently, it was rumored that Teresa Teng's niece Deng Jiajin participated in the Korean men's group talent show Boys 2 Planet, hoping to show her talent. Deng Jiajin is the son of Teresa Teng's younger brother Deng Changzi, and the third brother Deng Changfu said that the competition was mainly interested. As soon as the news came out, it sparked heated discussions, and netizens were surprised and supported voting. A total of 9 Taiwanese contestants participated in the show, and fans appealed for strong support. News highlights the first butterfly will be generated in 2025, which will have no direct impact on Taiwan, but the tropical depression TD02 located in the east of the Bass Strait will pass through the eastern coast of Taiwan from tonight to tomorrow morning, which may bring heavy rain, especially in the eastern half and Pingtung. The Central Weather Administration reminds Hualien and Taitung that there is a short period of heavy rainfall, accompanied by lightning strikes and strong gusts, and all localities should pay attention to weather changes and bring rain gear. The temperature dropped slightly, and the high temperature in the north still looked at 35 degrees. News highlights an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4 struck eastern Taiwan last night, and was felt throughout Taiwan, with the maximum seismic intensity being 5 weak in Changban, Taitung, and another magnitude 5.0 earthquake in the early morning. Guo Kaiwen, former director of the Earthquake Center, said that the earthquake energy is equivalent to 2 atomic bombs, and warned that another earthquake with a scale of more than May 6 occur in the next 30 days. The Meteorological Department also reminded that there may be aftershocks with a scale of more than 5.5 within 3 days, and continuous vigilance is required. Experts pointed out that Taiwan has an average of 6 earthquakes every 100 days, and it is necessary to be more vigilant in the near future. News highlights Tainan's time-honored store Joe's Shrimp Rolls broke out into a hygiene controversy, and some employees poured the leftover oil tofu back into the braised pot, causing food safety concerns. The Tainan Health Bureau conducted an emergency inspection and found 4 deficiencies, requiring improvement within a time limit, otherwise a maximum fine of 200 million yuan may be imposed. The store has dismissed the employees involved and apologized, emphasizing that it will strengthen employee education and internal management. News highlights Liu Beijun, the prototype of the Taiwanese drama Psychic Girl and the ambassador at large, braved the rain today to sweep the streets with the recall group Mountain Removal of Wei Harm, calling on the people to vote for their consent in the third order. She angrily said that her mother received a call from a market vendor last night, demanding that she not publicize the recall, and bitterly criticized the move as 3 indiscriminate measures. Liu stressed that the recall was to protect democracy and freedom, called for fair competition, rejected threats, and named local politicians to protect the local area and not give away grassroots efforts. She also asked the caller to apologize to her mother by noon, otherwise the booth information would be made public. News highlights: the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office investigated the communist espionage case, and Lin Yuelong, a former assistant to Kuomintang legislator Wang Hengui, was involved in the case, and on the 11th, he was bailed for 100,000 yuan and restricted from leaving the country. Wang Hengui stressed that Lin had left his post for a year and a half, and that he was only responsible for local travel during his tenure, and expressed his willingness to cooperate with the investigation. Because she once criticized the DPP assistant for being involved in the Communist Party and the bandit spy is in the Hanoi Temple, now her own family is involved in the case, which has triggered irony from netizens such as one word into a proverb. Democratic Progressive Party legislator Lin Chuyan also criticized Wang Hengui for shouting "Beware of bandits and spies around you," but now it has come true. News highlights: K. Wenz was detained for 9 months in connection with the Jinghua City and political donation case, and the recent inspection of the Xiaoshen 1500 and woman folders by the North Court has attracted attention again. His wife Chen Peggy has posted many messages of support, and in order to empathize, she does not turn on the air conditioner at home in the hot summer and does not eat heavy food. She supported the court's live streaming of the amendments, criticizing opponents for not understanding the impact of the judicial process on human rights, triggering a debate between the judiciary and human rights groups. News highlights: since June, the summer electricity price has been on the road, and the average household electricity bill may increase by 500 yuan, and power saving has become the focus of national attention. Taipower reminds that in addition to air conditioners, 9 kinds of high-power household appliances such as rice cookers, hair dryers, and microwave ovens are also electricity-eating monsters, and long-term use is afraid of overloading and causing disasters. It is recommended to use a dedicated outlet, install a timer, and turn off standby power. It is also reminded to pay attention to the moisture, oxidation, and cleaning of the plug to prevent short circuit and fire. News highlights: yesterday, 11th, night, a magnitude 6.4 earthquake occurred in eastern Taiwan, and the whole Taiwan felt shaking. 10 minutes before the earthquake, netizens took pictures of the burning clouds that looked like a phoenix in Taichung, which sparked heated discussions and memories of the 921 earthquake. Meteorological experts point out that fire clouds are commonly found in summer evenings, after afternoon thunder showers or before typhoons, and there is no clear correlation with earthquakes, and there is no scientific evidence to confirm that celestial phenomena can predict earthquakes. News highlights: recently, the wave of Taiwan's general recall has continued to ferment, and in the second phase of the recall of the Blue Committee, the number of recall cases has reached 31, while the Green Committee has not been successful. According to Fan Shiping, a professor at Taiwan Normal University, about 8 Blue Committee members in the KMT are facing a recall crisis, and if the trend continues, there is a risk that 10 to 12 Blue Camp legislators will step down. The recall group is entering the third stage, formulating a land and air battle strategy according to the characteristics of the constituency, actively promoting citizen briefings and community proliferation, and attracting middle voters through diversified activities. The recall was seen as a democratic dynamic that transcended the blue-green showdown, with the strike emphasizing civic autonomy and opposing the KMT's politicization of events. The Central Election Committee will confirm the results of the petition on June 20th, and if the petition is successful, a recall vote will be held within 20 to 60 days. News highlights: U.S. Secretary of Defense Hegseth pointed out that China is actively expanding its military and rehearsing its invasion of Taiwan, while at the same time absorbing Taiwan's combat readiness personnel through organizational infiltration. Zhu Zhenqi, executive director of Taiwan's New Power think tank, revealed that the CCP is assisting Taiwanese merchant seafarers to obtain Chinese seafarer certificates, especially for the official Yangming shipping, which is equivalent to including Taiwanese seafarers in China's combat readiness manpower. Zhu Zhenqi called on the Taiwan authorities to strictly guard against the infiltration of the United Front and make good preparations for contingencies. News highlights: a high school student in Taichung obtained the qualification of Yangming Jiaotong University, Taipei Medical University, Zhongshan Medical College, and China Medical College with excellent results, and Chongqing Medical College prepared it, but because the qualifications of the best debater in the study process file were questioned and exaggerated, the 4 schools quickly revoked the admission qualification, and Chongqing did not admit the student. The University Selection Committee confirmed that all 5 schools had cancelled their admissions and were not included in the distribution. The incident has aroused concern and reminded students of the importance of honest declaration. News highlights: 2 days after the disappearance of a 75-year-old factory owner surnamed Hong in Hunia District, Kaohsiung, the landlord found that he had been crushed to death by a manual hydraulic stacker. The factory lights were not extinguished, and the landlord thought he was working overtime, so he went to check because he couldn't be contacted. The police are investigating the cause of death and reminding the factory to strictly abide by safety regulations to ensure the safety of workers. News highlights: a violent incident occurred in a private middle school in Taichung on the 10th. 2 high school students were dissatisfied with the teacher's discipline, and attacked the teacher outside the toilet with wooden sticks, resulting in the teacher's head injury and bleeding, and the wooden stick was also broken. After the teacher was sent to the hospital, he was diagnosed with a mild concussion and immediately reported to the police with an injury certificate. The police have access to surveillance cameras to lock up the students involved in the case, and are investigating in accordance with the law. The incident shocked the campus, and the police called for a rational resolution of the dispute and the avoidance of violence. News highlights: Taiwanese boy group F4 members Yan Chensu, Zhu Xiaotian, Zhou Yuman, and Wu Jianhao have not been together for many years, and it was recently rumored that they will be guests at the May Day concert, but May Day believes in music and says I don't know. Zhu Xiaotian revealed in the live broadcast that he was looking forward to the merger, but he had not yet received a notice. Zhou Yuman also expressed his willingness, but stressed that he hoped to have a complete plan and did not want to combine just to make money. The topic of the four-person combination once again aroused the expectations of fans. News highlights: cross-cultural studies have found that men with a body fat of about 12% and a BMI of about 23 are the most attractive, giving the impression of being healthy, muscular, but not exaggerated. Rehabilitation physician Wang Saihan pointed out that the ideal body fat range is 10 to 15%, and the shoulder-to-waist ratio is about 1.6:1. This criterion of attraction is consistent with physiological health needs and reflects the evolving instinct of the brain to assess reproductive adaptability. Dr. Wang's body fat percentage is about 15% and his BMI is 24, which is close to the ideal range. News highlights: in the golden years of life, some zodiac signs ushered in the second spring of their later years, and the older they are, the more prosperous they are. Ox people are diligent and steady, lay a solid foundation when they are young, and enjoy wealth and health in their later years. Snake people are wise and keen, rich in social resources in their later years, and full of vitality. Sheep people are gentle and patient, have sufficient family support, and realize their dreams in old age. Dog people are loyal and reliable, have a solid connection, and live a rich and harmonious life in their later years. As we grow older, these four zodiac signs usher in a better life and opportunities in our later years. News highlights: in 2024, Taiwan stocks will rise 28.39% due to the AI boom, becoming the first choice for young people to invest. According to the data of the Stock Market Breaking News Alumni Association, the number of discussions on stock topics has tripled. In terms of zodiac signs, Taurus won the championship with a return rate of 18%, and prudent financial management outperformed the average of 8.41%. Capricorn and Cancer also perform well. Among the MBTI personalities, the plan-oriented J-type performed prominently, with INTJ and ESTJ tied for the first place, with a return rate of 19%. On the other hand, the investment performance of the more perceptual and flexible P-types, such as ENFP and ESFP, is poor. It was also surprising to find that night owl investors who slept less than 4 hours had a 26% return, indicating that investing time and concentration may lead to higher returns. News highlights: Yan Daijun, the fourth son of Yan Henzhuo's former deputy mayor, was restricted from leaving the country by the judicial authorities because he was involved in a fraud case. Yesterday, he was stopped at Kaohsiung Xiaogang Airport when he was about to leave the country, and the immigration department issued a notice prohibiting him from leaving the country in accordance with the law. Yan Daijun is suspected of fraud as the second generation of politicians, falsely claiming to be in control of land development and government bidding, absorbing more than 150 million yuan, and publicly declared that Li Qingde was his godfather when he got married. The immigration department emphasized that it was implemented in accordance with Article 6 of the Entry, Exit, and Immigration Law, and cooperated with the judicial authorities in the investigation. News highlights: the curator, Chen Haihan, was warmly welcomed in Shanghai, but was suddenly asked by a strange man, "What nationality are you?" At the moment, he was obviously affected, and even a little emotional, and he responded in a foul language during the live broadcast. The curator's reaction also revealed his resistance to this kind of political stance, and even said, "Republic of China, do you want me to show you your passport?" Against the backdrop of tense cross-strait relations, this situation is indeed very likely to cause sensitive reactions. News highlights: Yu Yongjae was charged with 5 times of forcible indecent assault on his ex-wife's own sister, and the court sentenced him to 2 years and 6 months in prison, as well as forced treatment for sexual violence, and a ban on certain positions in the future, showing the importance the court attaches to the case. In the second trial, he pleaded guilty and expressed remorse, but the prosecution still asked for a 5-year sentence, and the verdict is indeed worth paying attention to. News highlights: a wife shared on Facebook Marriage in the North that she has been married for 11 years and has a 1-year-old child due to the pressure of parenting and weight gain, but her husband accused her of not dressing up, and even warned that not dressing up may make him cheat. Her husband wanted her to accompany her more and watch historical films together, but she was refused, and the relationship between the husband and wife was strained. Hara described herself as being in a widowed parenting, and her husband barely helped take care of the children, leaving her physically and mentally exhausted. Netizens criticized the husband's remarks as emotional blackmail, emphasizing that women should dress for themselves, and called on husbands and wives to strengthen communication and mutual support. News highlights: when the humid and muggy season comes, Asami, a Japanese housekeeper, shares effective ventilation methods. NG practices involve only opening adjacent windows, which can cause local airflow and poor ventilation. It is advisable to open the 2 windows on the diagonal of the room to create an air inlet and outlet to promote ventilation throughout the room. The apartment can be equipped with an exhaust fan or use doors and windows to create airflow, or a circulation fan can be used to direct the air. Air conditioners are mostly circulated indoors, which does not mean ventilation, and when using air conditioners, it is still necessary to open the windows regularly to discharge carbon dioxide and moisture. Correct ventilation is simple and has a high CP value, which helps to prevent mildew and epidemic prevention, and creates a comfortable and healthy home environment. News highlights: a drowning accident occurred in the secret realm of Pingdong God Palace yesterday, 11th, and 3 Kaohsiung men were all friends, namely a man surnamed Huang, an employee of Taipower, a man surnamed Guo, a security engineer, and a man surnamed Lin, a parking lot administrator, who unfortunately drowned. The 3 were trapped in a whirlpool and a deep waterfall in a 30-minute walk from the Poseidon parking lot. The family was grief-stricken. Huang Nan's wife had just become pregnant, and Guo Nan and Lin Nan's wives were also deeply saddened. Rescuers said that the water depth at the drowning site exceeded their height, and the accident caused 3 families to lose their loved ones at the same time, which is distressing. News highlights: Li Jinyong, chairman of the Central Election Committee, said that a committee will be convened on June 20 to review about 26 recall cases, and if the bill is completed on the same day, the vote will be held within 20 to 60 days after the bill is completed, and the time may fall on 6 Saturdays between July 10 and August 19. Li Jinyong revealed that if multiple cases are completed on the same day, it will be proposed to vote on the same day to save costs and election burdens, and July 26 is one of the possible voting days, but it has not yet been determined. News highlights: a high school student from a private school in Taichung was originally qualified for the regular admission of the medical department of 4 schools and the qualification of 1 school for preparation due to the falsification of his learning history files, but his admission qualification was revoked by 4 schools, including Yangming Jiaotong University, Beijing Medical University, Zhongshan Medical University and Chinese Medical University. Changgung Medical Department did not respond clearly. Today, 12th, the results of the unified distribution of university applications for admission were released, and the official letter of the Ministry of Education confirmed that the student had been disqualified from distribution, and finally did not admit any school department. News highlights: the results of the unified distribution of university applications for the 114th academic year were announced today, October 12, and about 44,025 candidates were distributed, with a distribution rate of 55.73%, an increase of 2,892 over last year. After the distribution, the number of enrollment vacancies was 8,196, the lowest in the past 4 years, mainly due to the decrease in enrollment places, the increase in the number of applicants and the increase in candidates' willingness to attend. There are 173 vacancies in National Taiwan University, 109 in Qing University, 81 in Yangming Jiaotong University, 235 in Chengdu University, and 230 in National Chengchi University. Candidates can check the results on the website of the selection committee, and those who have doubts about the results can apply for a review online before June 13, and the results will be announced from June 15. News highlights: TSMC, 2330, has a cash dividend of 4.5 yuan for the 4th quarter of 2024, which will be ex-dividend on June 12. TSMC ADR rose 0.77% against the trend last night, and the stock price opened 5 yuan lower this morning at 1,055 yuan, which was not filled immediately, dragging Taiwan stocks down 107 points, showing a discount state. TSMC's revenue in the first quarter of 2025 will reach 839.25 billion yuan, net profit after tax will be 361.56 billion yuan, earnings per share will be 13.94 yuan, and a cash dividend of 5 yuan per share will be passed, which is expected to go ex-dividend in September. Foreign investors have been buying for 6 consecutive days since June 4, with a total of more than 68,000 lots. Analysts suggest that those who are optimistic about the long term can take advantage of the ex-dividend to adjust buy black instead of red. News highlights: Asia's quantum computing concept stocks were driven by today's intraday rally due to Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang saying that quantum computing is approaching a turning point. U.S. related companies Rigetti Computing and Quantum Computing surged 11% and 25% respectively on Wednesday, while Asian companies such as South Korea's Axgate, ICTK and Japan's Systems Engineering also rose. Huang noted that quantum computers will begin to solve real-world problems in a few years, and is optimistic about the development of Nvidia's hybrid quantum traditional computing solution. Q Morgan Stanley analysts believe that this move represents a more optimistic outlook for the commercial application of quantum computing. News highlights: Taiwan's central bank will hold its second quarter board of directors and supervisors on June 19, and the market will be concerned about whether it will follow suit as Trump calls for a sharp interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. However, judging from Taiwan's current interest rate and inflation data, there is limited room for interest rate cuts in the short term, and interest rates are expected to remain unchanged. U.S. President Trump and Vice President Vance publicly pressured the Fed to cut interest rates, and the market is highly concerned about the direction of U.S. monetary policy, but the Fed stressed that decision-making will be data-based and remain independent. Taiwan's CPI annual growth rate in May was 1.55%, inflation slowed down, and the overnight lending rate was about 0.82%, and the central bank has no urgency to cut interest rates for the time being. News highlights the popularity of the Taiwan-listed ETF market continues to heat up, with both the number and scale reaching new highs, with an increase of RMB 507.3 billion this year. Among them, Yuanta Taiwan 50,0050, attracted the most gold, with a cumulative net inflow of 219 billion yuan this year. 0050 is about to split one share into 4 shares, June 10th is the last trading day before the split, and the reference price is about 47 yuan when trading resumes on June 18th. The split does not change the total asset value, and investors should pay attention to the changes in the net value of the fund. Since its listing in 2003, 0050 has an annualized rate of return of 11.1%, making it a popular choice for core asset allocation. News highlights: since its opening in 2016, Hsinchu Crystal City Shopping Plaza has been a landmark shopping mall, but due to business district transfer and operation problems, it will be closed in March 2023 and has not resumed operations so far. Recently, it was reported that the business owed the city government 6 million yuan in rent and royalties, and the city government has deducted 20,000 yuan per day in accordance with the contract, and if it continues to be unpaid, it will be dealt with in accordance with the law. Crystal City, which was originally planned to be transformed into a long-term care facility, later applied for the resumption of the use of the shopping mall, which raised questions about the fear of becoming a mosquito house, and the city councillor criticized the city government for its poor supervision. News highlights: a death case occurred in Wanrong Township, Hualien on the evening of the 11th. A 56-year-old man surnamed Wu to a 32-year-old man surnamed Chen drank at home, and the two had a quarrel after drinking. In the evening, his ex-girlfriend returned home and was shocked to report the murder to the police, and when the police arrived, Wu Nan had no signs of life. Chen Nan later returned home, initially denied the crime, and finally confessed to the murder. The police seized the murder knife and arrested Chen Nan, who is expected to be transferred to the district prosecutor's office for investigation today, 12. News highlights: Taiwan will include male students in middle school as eligible for publicly funded HPV vaccination from September this year to promote gender health equality. The medical community pointed out that HPV is not only related to cervical cancer in women, but also highly associated with head and neck cancer and oropharyngeal cancer in men, and should be prevented as soon as possible. The rate of vaccination among adults and males is low, and experts are calling for vaccination regardless of age and gender. Charity Ambassador Feng Suengk also shared her experience in vaccination, hoping to raise the community's attention. This policy is the first of its kind in East Asia and represents a major step forward in epidemic prevention. News highlights: internet celebrity curator Chen Zhaihan traveled to China, and was asked by a local man about his nationality in Shanghai on the 11th. He responded to the Republic of China and reiterated it twice on the tour bus, which sparked heated discussions. Some Chinese netizens were dissatisfied with his remarks and even reported him on official platforms, accusing him of splitting the country. The incident has sparked a debate among netizens on both sides of the strait, and it has also highlighted that politically sensitive issues are still highly controversial. News highlights: the recall case of the legislators in Taiwan is surging, and 31 seats in the blue camp have entered the second phase of CO signing, while the DPP has not yet completed the case, showing a huge gap of 31:0. Pollster Yu Yinglong pointed out that Li Yangziu in the Nia-Hunanggong constituency is the most dangerous because of the DPP's deep grassroots strength. Wang Hengui, Lai Shiveo, and Luo's Haiqiang are also not optimistic, especially although Wang Hengui has Zhang Wanan's protection, the effectiveness remains to be seen. News highlights: Japanese cartoonist Natsuki predicted that a major undersea earthquake would occur in July 2025, triggering a tsunami more than 3 times the size of the 311 Great East Japan earthquake, causing panic in many places in Asia, the number of Hong Kong tourists to Japan plummeting, and Taiwan also rushed to buy disaster prevention supplies. Although experts pointed out that the prophecy lacked scientific basis, Nagarjuna stressed the need not to panic excessively, and will release a new work in June to clarify the content of the dream. News highlights: the first typhoon of the year, Butterfly, is heading towards Hainan Island and has no direct impact on Taiwan. However, its remnant system 94W has intensified into a tropical depression TD02 last night, and the Central Meteorological Administration issued a special report. It is estimated that it will enter the waters east of Taiwan this afternoon, 12th, and pass through the north or northeast from night to tomorrow morning, and may make landfall or pass by. Due to the short time and proximity to land, the probability of developing into a typhoon is low, but Huadong, Yunnan and the southern areas must be protected against heavy rain and strong winds. News highlights Taipei Fubon Bank announced that it will suspend the operation of 10 branches in 2 batches in August, which is the largest adjustment after the bank's consolidation with Risheng Bank, covering the northern, central, and southern regions. The first batch of 5 will close on August 11th, and the second batch of 5 will close on August 18th, and all operations will be transferred to nearby branches. Bai Fuyan said that in order to improve operational efficiency and avoid overlapping bases, the cumulative number of branches has been adjusted to 20, emphasizing that customer service will not be affected. News highlights due to bad habits such as sitting and standing for a long time, staying up late and eating spicy food, the symptoms of hemorrhoids tend to worsen, causing pain, itching and bleeding. Colorectal surgeon Huang Yuchen clarified that hemorrhoids are non-communicable and will not deteriorate into colorectal cancer, and the causes of the two are different. Hemorrhoids are normal cushions of the anus that fall due to poor blood flow and are not genetic or infectious. Medications are available to relieve symptoms, but they are not curable, and medical treatment or surgery should be sought if necessary. News highlights the non-governmental organization held the Taiwan Strait Defense Guard push, inviting 9 retired generals from Taiwan, the United States and Japan to assume that China will use force against Taiwan in 2030. Li Zhenjia, a retired major general, pointed out that the PLA's strategy is to encircle and send reinforcements and block reinforcements. He suggested using destroyers to block the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier, blockading the base strait with submarines, and concentrating aircraft carriers to attack the USS Washington, emphasizing that the firepower was sufficient to suppress the U.S. forces. This troop push strategy is a reference for the Japanese military in Taiwan and North America, and is intended to block U.S. and Japanese aid and achieve the goal of fighting against Taiwan. News highlights Taiwan's recall of the Blue Committee has entered the second-order joint signature review, and the Kuomintang has locked up Zhuang Guo and Baishi and failed, and the Blue-Green recall wide in Taiwan presents an extreme gap of 31:0. Yu Yinglong, chairman of the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation, pointed out that the 5 Blue Committee members of Taipei City are all in danger, but the most dangerous is Li Yangziu, because of the strong grassroots strength of the Hunan Hong Kong Democratic Progressive Party in his constituency. Others such as Wang Hengwei, Su Qiaoxin, Lai Shiveo and Luo's Haiqiang are also facing varying degrees of challenges, but Wang Hengwei has a strong protective plate from Taipei Mayor Zhang Wanan, which has become a protective shield. Yao Yinglong stressed that if the Blue Committee is actively defensive, the risk of recall can be reduced. News highlights in addition to the Qingtai butterfly, there is also a tropical depression approaching Taiwan due north, and meteorological expert Wu Shenjiahu said that the probability of its strengthening into a typhoon is not high, but it still needs to be paid attention to. The low pressure will pass directly over the land of Taiwan today, 12th, bringing significant rainfall in Huadong, Hengchun, and the southern mountainous areas, and thunder showers in the afternoon in the western half. Tomorrow, 13th, as the low pressure moves northward, rainfall will continue in 12 counties and cities south of Taichung and Huadong, and there will be afternoon hot convection in the north and Yunnan. The weather on weekends will vary depending on the landfall of Typhoon Butterfly, and vessels operating at sea will be alerted to strong winds and waves. News highlights a serious violent incident occurred in a well-known private middle school in Taichung City on the 10th. 2 high school boys were dissatisfied with the teacher's discipline, and ambushed outside the toilet with wooden sticks, and were beaten when the teacher came out after going to the toilet, resulting in the teacher's head injury and bleeding, and he was urgently sent to the hospital for treatment, which was not life-threatening. The police have identified the assailant student and called on the public to resolve the dispute rationally and avoid violence. This incident has aroused great concern in the education sector. News highlights the United States and China completed the second round of trade negotiations in London, and U.S. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick said that the United States will not loosen export controls on high-end chips to China, nor will it reduce 55% tariffs on Chinese goods. Lutnick stressed that chip export controls are a national security measure and that the United States will not supply the best chips to China, and said that the United States is competing with China in the field of AI. In addition, U.S. Treasury Secretary Benson also indicated that export restrictions will not be eased due to rare earth exchanges. Trump said the agreement was complete and awaiting final approval by the leaders of both sides. News highlights as the summer vacation season is approaching, an airport shuttle driver shared his years of experience and developed the habit of asking, "Do you bring your passport, mobile phone, wallet, and keys?" Habits. According to statistics, 1 out of every 10 people forgot to bring important items and needed to return home temporarily to pick them up, successfully avoiding the trouble of travel. Netizens responded enthusiastically, sharing their experiences of almost missing a flight due to forgetting their passports, luggage, or medications, believing that this sentence is by no means superfluous, but a practical and intimate reminder. News highlights the Japanese government predicts that there is an 80% chance of a major earthquake in the Nankai Trough in the next 30 years, which could trigger a tsunami and cause a major economic shock. According to a new report from the Japan Society of Wood Engineers, if an earthquake occurs, the economic damage in the next 20 years could reach 1,466 trillion yen, about $302 trillion, which is 5 times higher than the government's estimate in March. The report emphasizes that if infrastructure such as roads and coastal embankments were strengthened and disaster preparedness was raised in the 10 years before the earthquake, the damage could be reduced by about 389 trillion yen and the economic shock by 31%. News highlights Jungkook, a member of the South Korean boy group BTS, was followed by an illegitimate meal on the day of his discharge, and a Chinese woman in her 30s tried to illegally break into her residence, but was discovered by the public and called the police because she failed to enter the password several times. Police arrested the woman on charges of attempted home trespass and further investigation is underway. This incident occurred less than a day after Jungkook and Jimin returned from the army, which aroused great concern among fans. Army News highlights the Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor issued the National Pension Maternity Allowance in batches in June, and those who gave birth or were born prematurely during the insurance period and did not receive other maternity allowances can apply for a one-time payment of about 39,000 yuan for 2 months, and the number of twins and multiple births will be doubled by month. The application period is 5 years from the date of delivery, and it will not be accepted after the deadline. Those who give birth within 1 year after surrendering the policy with the same pregnancy can also apply retrospectively. This subsidy can help alleviate the financial burden of childbirth. News highlights an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4 occurred in eastern Taiwan yesterday, 11 evening, with a maximum seismic intensity of 5 week, which was felt throughout Taiwan. Meteorological fans looked at the weather and pointed out that this is a hidden zone earthquake. The shaking lasts for a long time but is not violent, and there is no wave of felt aftershocks until the early morning of today, 12th, after the earthquake, and the abnormal phenomenon is worrying. The fan reminded that in the next few days, it is necessary to pay attention to the possible magnitude 5 earthquake, and hopes that the heavy rain in the same period will not cause greater disasters. News highlights when an old man in a community in Keelung took the elevator, he accidentally brought a snake into his bag. The monitor footage showed the snake creeping out of the bag, squirming on the elevator floor, and even wrapping around his feet until the old man jumped up in shock. After investigation, the snake was suspected to have climbed into the bag from the old man's previous walk on the seaside of Weimu Mountain, and returned to the community with him. No one was injured in the incident, and the occupants have reported it to the caretaker, who initially suspected that someone had maliciously released the snake, but it was confirmed that it was an accident. News highlights 3 sisters in Handan, Hebei Province, China, were killed when they went to their father's grave to pay their respects during the Chinese New Year. After police investigation, the explosion was a premeditated crime committed by the uncle, and the court sentenced the uncle to death. The family has been strained for many years over farmland disputes. Uncle once watched a video about the production of fireworks and firecrackers, but his attitude was repeated after the incident, and the court finally found him guilty of intentional homicide. Relatives of the deceased sisters questioned whether there were accomplices and questioned how the uncle could make powerful explosives because he had no relevant background. News highlights the Kaohsiung branch of the American Institute in Taiwan, 8 Kaohsiung, called on the public to prepare shelter kits at any time on Facebook through the mascot Ami Niu on the 11th. Ami Niu shared 7 essential items, including important documents, drinking water and food, medical supplies, flashlights, warm clothes, personal hygiene items and mobile phone chargers. The post emphasizes that preparing in advance can reduce panic and enhance resilience in case of emergency. 8 reminds everyone to be more prepared in times of crisis and more at ease in times of crisis, and calls for joint efforts to raise awareness of disaster prevention. News highlights Hefo International Restaurant Group has been deeply involved in the Taiwanese coffee market for 13 years, and a financial crisis broke out in September 2024, resulting in the closure of 11 stores in Taiwan. At the end of the year, it was reported that wages were in arrears and payments owed to manufacturers, and membership points could not be cashed. The 2 properties in the Kaohsiung Art Museum Special Zone under the name of the head of the group will be auctioned in July 2025, with a total reserve price of about 47.4 million yuan. Officials said that a new agency has taken over and plans to rebrand at the original location, but the reopening schedule has not yet been announced. News highlights the Northeast Corner and Yulan Coastal Scenic Area Management Office announced that due to the influence of tropical depression, there were swells and excessive tide differences in the waters around Gishan Island, and for safety reasons, Gishan Island was closed for 1 day today, 12th. The Central Meteorological Administration pointed out that the tropical depression is approaching the eastern half of Taiwan, and there will be strong gusts of 8 to 10 and strong winds and waves over the sea surface of the northern and eastern half of Taiwan. News highlights actress and Yuchuan's husband Chen Ronglian was sentenced to 13 years in prison and fined 1.8 billion Hong Kong dollars, about NT dollars 7.5 billion, for gambling, fraud and money laundering. Chen held a foreign currency account in Taiwan with about NT dollar 198 million, but the bank refused to withdraw the money because it was suspected of being involved in money laundering. An Yuchuan tried to use the account but was rejected and sued the bank for compensation, but the court, based on the judgment of the Macau court and relevant evidence, found that the account was indeed suspected of money laundering, rejected the request, and upheld the bank's measures to suspend account transactions. News highlights: the Ministry of Health and Welfare and the Ministry of Finance have reached a consensus to revise the income tax system for hospital physicians, stipulating that overtime pay for public and private doctors is exempt from taxes, on the condition that overtime hours shall not exceed 50% of the total working hours, covering resident doctors to attending physicians, and will be implemented as soon as next year's tax return. Due to the special nature of doctors' work, doctors often need to be on duty for a long time, and the current overtime pay is taxed at the general rate, which affects the rights and interests of doctors. In case of special circumstances such as major disasters that exceed the upper limit, it shall be approved by the competent authority. Hospitals are required to keep a complete record of working hours and overtime pay to prevent tax evasion. The plan is still subject to the revision and interpretation of the interministerial decree. News highlights: Hong Kong's sexy goddess Boba Yazilin, who will turn 59 on July 10, recently held a birthday party in advance at a 6-star hotel in Central, attracting stars in the 80s and 90s such as Xia Wengzi, Zhou Maifeng, and Hu Feng. She appeared in a variety of looks to pay tribute to Lady Gaga and the Egyptian Demon Queen, especially the pink dress was praised as the live-action Barbie, showing a spicy 3/6F good figure. Yazilin became famous for the third-level films Liao Zai Yantan and Jade Futon, and became a sexy goddess by strictly abiding by the scale. At the birthday party, she and her friends took turns to sing, and the atmosphere was warm. News highlights: the well-known webtoon artist Ori announced her pregnancy at the end of 2024, and recently finally gave birth naturally after 6 days of expiration, unlocking the experience of no painless natural birth. During the birth, she not only experienced severe pain from drug plugging and contractions, but also happened to encounter an earthquake, which was very difficult. After more than 10 hours of suffering, Ori gave birth to the baby safely, and shared the touching moment in the community, which surprised and moved fans. News highlights: Tang Ziki, GEM, officially announced the release of a new re-recorded album I Am Gloria through social platforms today, 12th, symbolizing the end of her 6-year legal entanglement with her former owner and ushering in a new life of music and life. Tang Ziki revealed that she had not received any royalties from her old works in the past 6 years, and her heart was full of helplessness and pain. The contract she signed at the age of 15 was like a lock, restricting her freedom from her work, and now she has finally overcome many difficulties to record music again, opening a new chapter in her blocked creative life. She appealed to fans to support the re-recorded album, emphasizing that this is a rebirth story of dead and resurrected, lost and found, not revenge. News highlights: K-pop group Super Junior is about to celebrate the 20th anniversary of its debut, announcing that it will hold 2 anniversary tours at Taipei Arena on November 15 and 16, and will start singing at Kaohsiung Arena on January 24 next year. SJDNE members Dong Hai and Ian Hyuk will be the first to participate in a large-scale event at Taipei Arena in August, becoming the first members to perform at the venue. Fans are eagerly looking forward to the performances in the north and south and grabbing tickets, but the fireworks of the concert have yet to break through the venue regulations.